prepare you for the Lion's Gate portal. Remember what I said yesterday, that anything that would be sustainable must happen from the place of healing. Moonrise. It must happen from the place of healing. And that's why all the exercises yesterday, Zebra greetings, all the exercises, don't stop carrying them out. Keep practice would make you perfect. Repetition is the mother of science. Big Space said he's born in the Lions Gate portal. Fantastic. So you have some leverage. Capitalize on it. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. Now let's repeat some of the exercises we did yesterday. This is to heal your childhood wound. Or should we just go to today's session? Or do you want us to? Because I think that if we carry out some of the exercises we had yesterday, it's more or less like reinforcement. It's reinforcement. Is there anybody here who would like to come up on the video? I would like to share the screen with someone. It will give some, to give some vibe to it. Anyone would like to come up on video so we can just do one exercise from yesterday's session? If you would like to, just send a request. You turn on your video, your camera, and then together we would lead the others. Thank you, Daisy. One of the things I said yesterday was I said that if you can control your breath, you can control your life. One of the aspects of numerology that people ignore is their soul urge number. Your soul urge number is your energy center of this, the energy center of your soul, right? It is where you have the software of your life, because there is a software of your soul. And when you're functioning within the software of your soul, there is alignment. There is no confusion. There is no identity crisis. But if something is not right with the software, you are meant to go to the source code, right? And figure out what is not right. And deal with what is not right. So your algorithm can be in alignment with the source code, with the software of your soul. Madam Soptodavi, greetings. Why do you think that everything, every institution, individuals, why do you think they are after your soul? That is your office. That is the headquarters, the center of your human institution. That's where it is. Any viruses don't affect, they hardly affect hardwares. They affect the software of your soul. So whatever abuse happened on Tame the Moon Rising during childhood, it became a disease of the soul. That's what it became. So once again, let's do this exercise. Let's carry out this exercise today. 3 deep breaths. 3. You remember what I told you yesterday? You fill your belly with air. So you don't suck in your tummy. It protrudes, right? It protrudes. Are you ready? So 3 deep breaths. We're going to take 3 deep breaths, and then we're going to visualize moonlight washing over our body. You're going to visualize moonlight. One of the things that is difficult for people to do is visualization. I hope you know that. But your ability to visualize is what makes you a god. And it's free. It's a free gift of nature. You can right now visualize yourself in the Oval Office of America. Do you know how powerful that is? Right now, you can visualize yourself living the life you desire to live. It's free. But you know it's hard for a lot of people to do. But when you master your breath control, it becomes very easy for you to visualize. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect overnight, like you have to be perfect right now. No. Practice. Practice. If there is something that we must master, it is practice, imagination, visualization. The ability to imagine and visualize what you are imagining. That's what makes you a god. That's what makes you a god. Good evening, real pretty UJ. So put your two hands on your laps and take 3 deep breaths. For 6 seconds, you take it for 6 seconds. You hold the breath for 6 seconds and then you land, you release the breath. You breathe out for 6 seconds. So there is no hurriedness. You are not in a hurry. It's about living in the moment. You're not trying to control your thoughts. You are trying to ascend and transcend beyond your thoughts to a place of nothingness where it is only you and nothing else. Where there is no more thoughts, there is no more imagination, it's just you. Albert Einstein called it the 0 point energy. It's a place of nothingness that is full of just you in your light being. You are in your light mode. Human being, where you are becoming your essence. Your soul is full of light. When a person dies, their soul leaves their body. It is light that leaves their body. We've had evidence to that, where a CCTV camera recorded when someone gave up and lights left their body. So your soul is full of light. That's why the sperm of a man carries within it light. That's why some sperm are already dim. The light of some sperm is dim because there are too many toxicities and negative energy and trauma and some of those things. But in principle, when your father's sperm meets your mother's egg and it fertilizes it is light. It gives birth. Let there be light. That is the whole point when it comes to creation. Light shines. So the moment you are able to master your breath, you are able to master your life. You are a being of light. When you can control your breath, you can control your life because you live in the moment. You're not trying to control your thoughts. And when I say control your breath, I'm not saying you are doing it from a place of force. No. You breathe to the point where you transcend beyond your breath, beyond your thoughts, into a place of nothingness. That's a place of 0 point energy. So put your hands on your laps, and at the count of 3, you will take in breath for 6 seconds. You hold it for 6 seconds and then you release it in 6 seconds. Now let's go. 3, 2, 1. We're going to do that again twice. But this time, I'm not going to join you. I want to make sure that I am watching. Not like I'm seeing you, but it seems as though I'm seeing you. Now, we're going to do it again at the count of three. You're going to take in deep breath. Hold it for 6 seconds. Take it in for 6 seconds. Hold it for 6 seconds and release it in 6 seconds. All right? Three, two, one. Let's go. Hold the breath for 6 seconds. Release the breath in 6 seconds. One more. How do you feel first? I want someone to type. If you're practicing this, can you type in the comment section? How do you feel doing this? How do you feel? And if you don't feel anything, it's okay. Like I said, it's practice. If you don't feel anything, it's fine. But how do you feel? Relieved, relaxed, calm. So imagine doing this for like 30 minutes. Always feel lighter after breathing. Exactly. You feel, because that's the whole purpose, to come to your place of light, because you are light. You are meant to always be in your light mode. It's a state of sparkle. You are meant to be sparkling. That's who you are. That's what you represent. Tingling in your brain. That's another thing. Now, for the last time, we're going to do it again. At the count of three, you will take in breath in 6 seconds. You hold it for 6 seconds and you release the breath in 6 seconds. Are you ready? Three, two, one. Hold it for 6 seconds. Release 6 seconds. Now hold your heart and your belly and say, I am safe to be here. I am safe to be here. I am safe to be here. I am in my place of security. You can close your eyes. I'm just opening my eyes because I'm the host. I am safe to be here. You hold your heart and your belly, and then you say, I am safe to be here. I am in my place of security. I am ready to be seen by the universe. I am no longer hiding. Now, you're going to do something else. You're going to visualize moonlight washing over your body, like ancestral light washing over your body. Moonlight washing over your body. Visualize that. You capture it first. This is how to visualize. You capture the image first in your mind's eye. You capture it first. So you want to visualize moonlight. Where do you see the moon? In the sky, right? So you take your mind to the sky. Because if you open your eyes right now and you go outside your house, you can see the moon, right? And this is why a lot of times it is important for us to pay attention to nature. You know, we hardly want to look. Some people don't want to look at the sun. They don't want to look at. We just look at the moon, and they will just take our eyes off it in 5 seconds. Sometimes stay there and just look at the moon, so that the image can register in your mind's eye. Greetings, Vaughn. Right. So you want to visualize moonlight washing over your body. So take your mind to the sky, because that's where the moon is. But the moon is also in you, right? So capture the image of the moon in the sky and then begin to visualize it with your mind's eye. And then visualize that moonlight washing over your body. This is self hypnosis. You are hypnotizing yourself because the world is trying to hypnotize you every day with the movies, with the sport, with everything, with the preaching, with the this and with the that. The whole purpose and idea is to hypnotize you. And when you become an object of hypnosis, right? It benefits other people. So why don't you hypnotize yourself? So you become the master hypnotic in your own life, right? So you hypnotize yourself, visualizing moonlight washing over your body. Because when you watch movies and you watch all those movies about vampires, many times you are almost running away in your mind because you think the vampires are also after you. But it's just a movie. But it is hypnosis. Yesterday I said, yeah, I said the problem with many of us is not energy generation, it is energy distribution. And every human being is a generator of light because you are light. Human being, a being of light. That's what you are. If you are an if you're an energy field of which you are, then you can generate frequencies. Visualize moonlight washing over your body like ancestral lights. Now, say after me. You see, one of the things that I think everyone should master is the law of repetition. The world is so much in a hurry, and that's why people are not gaining mastery. So if they do something now, they don't want to do it again. They want to move to the next thing. But when you build your mind to a place of authenticity and you start functioning with the software of your soul, repeating things becomes fun to you. When I read something, when I study something and I'm doing it again, it's fun because that is the path to mastery. And that's why yesterday I told you, I said, don't stop doing the exercises that we carried out yesterday. Keep doing it. Don't move to something else. You can learn other things, but all I'm saying is the exercises, because these exercises would help heal your childhood wound. So don't stop doing them. So now say after me, I am not what happened to me. 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 I am what I choose to become. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Now say this. I no longer carry the shame that was never mine. I no longer carry the shame that was never mine. The shame was never mine in the first place. I'm a being of light. I reincarnated here as a being of light. So I no longer carry the shame that I've carried for years that was never mine. I no longer carry the shame that was never mine. Now, say something else. Say, I give my inner child the love they always deserve. I give my inner child the love they always deserve. Do you know why a lot of children, a lot of boys, they are seeking validation from things, material things, addictions. They are seeking attention from material things, addictions, and all that. And a lot of girls are trying to get attention from men because they were never truly loved. As children, when they were children, they were not truly loved. They did not enjoy parental care and affection and love. Some experienced parental passive aggressive, behavior. Some other people, what their parents did was put them under undue pressure. Like you are always under pressure. And this has become part of the software of their soul. So they need to go back to the source code. And that's why all these exercises are very effective when it comes to going to the source code to rewrite the algorithm so that your behavior coincides with your soul contract, because you can't behave better than your beliefs. You can't behave better than the programming in your subconscious, especially the programming in your subconscious as a child. You were born with your divine center. You were born as a being of light. You didn't know whether something is black, white. You never knew who is a Christian, who is a Muslim. You never even knew anything about whether the name of Jesus would do anything for you or not. You were taught everything. Everything you were taught them. And in most cases, everything you were taught brainwashed you, formatted your divine consciousness, dimmed the lights that you were born with. Most of the things that our parents injected in us, those ideologies, those dogma and doctrines, they actually dimmed our lights. That's what those things did. Because you were born with the ability to do the impossible. As a child, if they put you on a 20-story, you will jump because you think you can fly. You think if you jump, you will just grow wings and fly. You knew nothing about impossibilities until your parents took you and they formatted your divine consciousness. And that fear has been with you for years, has been with us for years. And the trauma, the limitations, the restrictions, the shame, the guilt, the dogma, and the poisonous doctrines are the reasons why many of us cannot run a successful business. You think one demon is chasing you. The demon is in your subconscious. It's a faulty software that needs to be repaired. I was discussing with someone so you can understand how powerful ancestral patterns are. Ancestral pattern is. Because you must you must be the disruptor of negative ancestral algorithm. You must be that person. And you cannot do it from the place of insanity. What is insanity? Doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result. Your parents did it the same way. They kept getting the same result of so-called stagnancy. The best a lot of our parents did was they fed other people. Our parents were like cows. Other people were milking them. That was the best a lot of our parents were. You cannot continue from where your parents stopped. As much as possible, I don't like to attack people's religion. But whatever you believe, hold it in your pocket. Is your cup of tea. Don't impose it on other people. Because a lot of these things, I don't see it working for people. People can claim it's working for them. They are just reinventing the wheel. The same thing their parents did. You can't keep hallucinating. You can't keep living from your hallucinations and expect a different result in your life. How? It work. It work. I can't see it. The world cannot see it. You can't keep hiding under other people's umbrella of success. You are other people's shadow. Exactly. Doing the same thing as parents in a different expression. Thank you. The same thing that your parents did is what you are doing. Yours is just a different expression. I was told of someone who is going through a child who is a teenager going through a very, very serious situation right now. And this family is very, very close to one of the healers in Nigeria. And the question I had in my mind, why can't this healer just heal? Since you are close to this family, these people are close to you and you can't heal them, because what this teenage girl is going through has nothing to do with anybody's prayer. Is an energy situation, is an energetic situation. But you know, many times we want to do the same thing the same way, and that's how we sustain negative ancestral algorithm. You know, he that has an ear, let him hear what the ancestors want, what God is saying. Anybody that doesn't want to hear, no problem. At the end of the day, is their life. But if you are hearing this, if you are under the sound of my voice, you cannot continue to carry the shame that was never yours. You can't continue. Everything I'm telling you, I had to sit down and look at my own life and said, no. Other people would not build empires on my wisdom and my head, whilst I build nothing for myself. Because that's what my father did. And at his burial, the eulogy was so shocking, even to my mother. My mother was crying. I was asking my mother, why are you crying like that? And my mother said, well, your father was not any of this to me, but it was that to other people. People built empires on my father's head, on his wisdom. Nigerite Flowflex tiles came to Nigeria. My father was one of the people that brought that company to Nigeria. When it was time for people to be relieved because the company had some financial, my father said he will leave so that other people can just stay. He was their Jesus Christ. And I was living my life like that, allowing everybody to go first, thinking that is how I meant to live my life. And I was used and dumped, people recycled me. And I said, no, this is a negative ancestral pattern. I'm seeing this in my father. And that's why in his old age, regret setting. He realized that all the amen, amen, hallelujah is not enough. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Didn't work for him. In his 80s, he realized that, but it was too late for him. He was already weak. Do you want to wait until you are 60 before you realize that if something is not really working for you, you should not keep, single. Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Nobody's going to tell you this, but I will tell you. Because we have been programmed to behave a certain way. It's programmed response. That is the way you are going to respond based on the corruption that has been introduced into the software of your soul. You are going to react with fear in a particular situation. The moment you don't have enough money, you are going to react with scarcity because you are programmed to react like that. But when you start rewriting the algorithm and you start fixing your issues at the source code, then your behavior, your response changes. That's what happens. Even in my own family, amongst my siblings, we remind ourselves the moment one of us starts behaving like the spirit of negative ancestral pattern, we just call the person one to one. Anybody that is able to do that, we'll call the person. This behavior is showing the signs of our father side, and you need to work on it. And the person says, okay, I'm sorry, I am going to work on it. Consciously, intentionality. You can't see a lot of these things, you can't pray yourself out of them. You must go through a mental surgical operation. You must go through ancestral algorithm reprogramming. That's what you must go through. If not, we will keep carrying the shame that was never ours. Because the programming is there to sustain that vicious cycle. That's what the program is just there to sustain that cycle. You will glorify religious dogma and doctrine just to sustain that cycle of shame and guilt, and you keep, and to you, as long as your institution is moving forward, then you think that your life is also moving forward. No, it is not. We must get to the point where we sit down. You must get to the point where this is Universal Year 9. I'm here to talk to you today as your brother, not as any teacher. I am your brother today, and I'm here to talk to you. And as I'm talking to you, I'm also talking to myself. This is Universal Year 9, the year of endings, but it's also the year of transformation. But you know the interesting thing? It is the year of the end of the beginning. So how you end 2025 determines the next 9 years of your life. Exactly. So you cannot continue to carry the shame that was never yours. A lot of the things that you carry, the burdens, they are not yours. You were not born with them. Probably you were born into a poor family, but you are an individual in the ecosystem of your ancestry. Please always remember that. Yes, you carry on within you the DNA of your ancestors. You carry on within you genetic codes. Thank you, white dove. But you have to be intentional about modifying your DNA. One of the simple ways, epigenetics, for when you study the whole concept of DNA, there is epigenetics. There are people who stood up one day and said, I'm going to leave this place and move to this place. And by changing environment, they introduced new codes into their genetics, and that was the game changer for them. Some people, they engage neuroplasticity, introduce new thoughts, new ideas, new beliefs. Like, no, I will not continue to think like this. I will not continue to wake up every night and to do all this early morning thing and be fooling myself. No, I won't do. I have seen that my parents did not produce any results doing this. Why should I continue to do it with them? Until you get to that point of total, blunt honesty and sincerity. You are brutally honest to yourself. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. The day you sit down and you tell yourself that, no, I have to, because a lot of people, they are going to do it when they are 80, 90. Where is the strength? You have realized it, but you are 80 years old. Where is the strength to carry out the necessary actions and change? Where is the strength? This is the best time. There is nobody here who is above 50 years old. Exactly. People will tell you this, and some of you don't probably, maybe you don't need to stop going to church, or you don't need to stop going to mosque. But for some people, you need to stop some things. If you want your life to move forward, you must stop some things. So you must be brutally honest to yourself. Oh, sorry, ma, you're above 50. Oh, yeah, there are people who are above 50 here, actually. Okay, I just remember that I know a lot of people who are above 50 here. Some people remember who they are in their 50s. Another person. Welcome to the session, our mothers. Some people got it at 65, but listen to me. You are privileged to get it, But some people got it at 80 when they already took COVID vaccine, right? So maybe my father would have survived taking that COVID vaccine, right? But because taking the COVID vaccine, a man who never stepped into any hospital in his life, just mild sickness, and he took COVID vaccine, and he became so weak because he was already living in regret. He already looked at his life at 80 plus and said, how could it be that I was the one that at 6 a.m. people were already sitting in front of my house to come and ask what they should do with their life? I was involved in making sure that people build empires for themselves. Where is my own empire? Where is my own empire? And I simply told myself, if I don't wake up, I'm going to end up like this man. Time was gone. Maybe if he was in his 50s or so, he would have still been able to. Time was gone. You are not late. That's why you are hearing this. So when some of you hear these things, please don't let that religiosity in you demonize. Oh, these people are evil. They are not mentioning the name of Jesus. These people are evil. They are not talking about Islam. Stop that. You don't need that. If you think it's against whatever you stand for, then leave. But don't build monument around insanity. Don't build monument around insanity. Don't build a monument around what is not working. I'm not saying your religion is not working. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you must be brutally honest to yourself. You must be brutally honest to yourself. And the best time to do that is 2025, because this is a year of endings. So that you can begin on a new plate, on a new page in 2026. You are not late at 50. You are not late. Matter of fact, you are never late. You are not late. The owner of KFC, or what was it, KFC or McDonald's, got it in his 60s. But you don't have to wait till you are 60. You are here right now. You are here right now. And one of the burdens that people carry that hinders them from becoming the most authentic version of who they are is the shame and the guilt that was never theirs. The limitations in your mind, all those crazy beliefs, they are there so you can carry on and sustain that vicious cycle of negativity and backwardness and victimhood. When we became old, we were able to speak to our mother. My mother was known for resuscitating children that were almost dead. So through my mother, in her every community where she lived, people who belonged to other religions started following her to her church. Because if there were children that were almost clinically declared dead, but my mother raised them because she came from a lineage of healers. Yes. But by morning, evening, she's carrying herself to go and meet prophet. Right? She was outsourcing her power to people who were not as powerful as her. So imagine she had used that power, that natural power that she came here with for herself and her children. And that's what a lot of you are doing. You are outsourcing your power. You are outsourcing your divine capacity. That's what you are doing. You are putting yourself, you are submitting yourself to people who don't have 5% of what you carry. That's what you are doing. I met someone, the person told me, I really like you, but there was something you said about my spiritual father and I don't like it. And I said, I am sorry if you were offended by what I said about your spiritual father, but you don't need a spiritual father. You don't need a spiritual father. You don't need any spiritual covering. This is the way. These are the things that our parents practice. What do you need a spiritual covering for? If you need one, your mother is your spiritual covering. If your mother can't be a spiritual covering, then your ancestral covering is there for you. Because the moment you refer to anybody as your spiritual covering, you are finished. You have outsourced your power. That's what you have done. So now, when you are confronted with issues in life, you are trying to tap into your so-called spiritual covering when the capacity is in you. Exactly. Yesterday I said that you are, as long as you are alive, you are spiritual. You are not unspiritual, you're just uninformed. Give your inner child the love they always deserved. Give your inner child the power that your inner child always deserved. How many of you here wrote that letter to your younger self yesterday? We had that session of writing a letter to our inner self, to your younger self. If you wrote it yesterday, fantastic. You have to tell your younger self that you are sorry. Tell your younger self, I am sorry. You have to forgive your younger self for thinking it was your fault. Because that's why you are carrying the shame and the burden and the guilt. That is not yours. All these things are not yours. You are carrying them because your parents refuse to deal with them in their own time. So they pass it on to you. Negative ancestral algorithm. Negative ancestral algorithm. You honor your lineage. You respect and honor your lineage, your fathers, your mother, whether they are alive or they are dead. But you must ensure you don't inherit their pain. Let me tell you something that is hard for a lot of people to do. For some people, you have to distance yourself. From any lineage that has refused to stand up and take the bull by the horn, because they will drag you down. That's the whole idea. What the algorithm is set up to do is to keep you down, is to keep the family down. And there are members of the family who don't want to get up. So you can help them when you can, but you are meant to distance yourself from them. It's the truth. Because a toxic person is it doesn't matter who they are, whether you're your father, they are your mother, they are your brother. You honor your lineage. Because see, the pattern is meant to stop with you, so that the power can begin with you. For the power to begin with you, the pattern must stop. It must end with you. Because a lot of these things, you did not create them, but you are holding on to them through your beliefs, subconscious programming. You release the karma you did not create. Yesterday, I told you that a parent is a tour guide. The primary role of a parent, thank you, is to give a child soft landing. But because most parents could not even deal with their own demons, so they didn't give you soft landing, yet their burden was transferred to you. So you became an embodiment of parental burdens, ancestral karma. How do you confront life's challenges when you are already carrying burdens and trauma at 6 years old, at 7 years old, at 8 years old? How? You have to release the karma you did not create. Too many people are carrying burdens on their head, and they are doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result. No. If something is not working, try something else. It does not take more than 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 months to transform your life. I have been saying this for 2 years, and I have seen people who have proved it, that it is true, that you can change your life in 3 to 6 to 9 to 12 months. That's it. In 3 to 6 to 9 months, there will be massive change. And by 12 months, you will see that, wow, I am not where I used to be. It doesn't take that long. If it is taking that long, check how you are living your life, your beliefs, your subconscious mind, the programming. Check the software. Check the software of your soul. There is corruption. There is a virus that has inflicted the software of your soul, and you must treat it at the source code. You can't repeat old cycles, because that's what the majority of us are doing. We don't want to release the karma that we did not create. It's not mine. I came here with glory. I came here with splendor, with majesty. So if there are challenges a child is meant to go through, it should be their own challenges that they are meant to go through. Challenges are inevitable, but your child should not go through the challenges of life that you are meant to have dealt with, because you are going through those things because your parents refuse to deal with theirs. The addiction to alcohol, the reckless, sexuality, poverty mentality, shame, guilt, victimhood, sickness. They refuse to deal with it. One of my, this guy is like a brother to me. We live in the same estate. He's a brother to me. So I can tell you his story. His father died of diabetes and sugar issues. One of his brothers, another of his brother. Then when he clocked 40, after 40, one of those days he just called me and said he felt like he wanted to pass out, that I should come and pick him. Then I went to go and pick him. Then went to the hospital and they diagnosed him. The same thing that killed his father and his brothers. He was diagnosed of that thing. And he stood up and said, no, this thing is not normal. And he took the bull by the horn. Now he's more or less like a herbalist. He is the one that teaches me the things to eat. He is totally free. He stood and said, no, I can't take this. He rewrote the algorithm. He didn't have to pray any prayer. He took the necessary action he needed to take. That's what he did. That's how you rewrite negative ancestral algorithms. Action. You take an action. Epigenetics. You introduce new neurons into your brain, into your subconscious mind. That's what you do. You change environment. You change your habits. You change your belief system. That is the whole concept of epigenetics. And new codes are introduced into your genetics, into your DNA, because there's a difference between your genetic codes and your DNA. Your DNA carries your genetic codes. That's what it does. He broke the curse. He didn't have to say, every cause of diabetes in my family, I break them right now. No, he didn't do all that nonsense. Because that's actually a waste of time. Let me tell you that now. He took action. And now it is 6 years. He's living well. He developed the right habits. If it is about money, you are meant to also take action. If it is fear, if it is not having love in your life, listen to me. You must be the disruptor. You must be the disruptor. You can't continue, because he did not create that diabetic karma that was killing all the men in his family. So you have to release it. Release the karma of poverty. And if anybody in your family does not like you because of that, release them too. Because some people have made up their mind to sustain that cycle, that vicious cycle of negative ancestral pattern. That's what they have done. Fear of having big things, right? Fear of having more than one thing. Some people have that fear. They don't want to have, the moment they have two things, they are, no. They are afraid of success. I'm not saying that you should go and amass, that you should be so materialistic, but no, it's okay for you to have two things. There was time I thought it was a crime to even have two pair of shoes. For me, it was a crime to have two things. And you can label these things as anything, but then it is something you are meant to deal with. Now put your hand on your heart and then on your belly and say after me. Call your maternal and your paternal lines by name. Call your maternal and your See, this is pre-Lions Gate portal. We are entering the Lions Gate portal. This is the same energy we carried into it last year. And I tell you the truth, a lot of people have testimonies to share. We're going to make sure that we probably collect some testimonies this year. Yeah, because we really don't do testimonies, but people said it would encourage people. So maybe we'll do. And people tapped into it last year. And a lot of them, in 9 months, changes in their life. And that's the same energy we're riding on, pre-Lions Gate Portal 2025. Put your hand on your heart and your tummy. Call your maternal and paternal lines by name and say after me, to those who came before me, I love you. I forgive you. I set you free. To those who came before me, I love you. I forgive you. If you know their names, call their names. Call their names. I know you do Shadia. Akinlade Akinyode. I love you. You came before me. I respect you and I honor you for that. I forgive you and I set you free. And I free myself. I release myself from the karma that you refuse to deal with. And it ends with me. It ends with me. It ends with me. Now shake your body like this. You are shaking it off. And then clap. And then stomp 3 times. You are shaking it off. That's what you are doing. You have to shake it off. You have to shake it off. If you're a woman here hearing the sound of my voice, there is another part of the DNA. I'm trying to remember the terminology for it, where 2 DNAs come together to produce an extension. There's a term for it. I'm trying to remember. One of the ways to create disruption in any negative ancestral pattern is who you marry. I hope you know that. Because people look at marriage as just, oh, I'm in love with you, you are in love with me. It is stupidity to build marriage and relationship only on feelings. Feelings of poverty and guilt and shame. No. A generous, humble woman once said in my presence, when our daughter brought a guy, her daughter was just 13 years. I said, this is my friend. And she said, who is he? And daughter said, so. And she said, okay, but he's just going to be your friend. When you leave school, you will never see him again. And the woman said, I will never forget. I had to put this quote in my book. She said, one of the ways poverty and misery is transferred from one generation to another is through marriage. So you see that the elites, they don't just see marriage as a ceremony of 2 lovebirds. No. It is an alliance for them. And not just the elite. Our ancestors saw marriage as just more than a ceremony of between 2 lovebirds. No. They saw it as an alliance of 2 energetic souls coming together to sustain a legacy. That's why they were going to say, what is their family? Can we know about their family? Do they have mad people? Do they have, Because there are people who have ended patterns of stupidity just because they married a smart person. That's it. And they put a stop to stupidity in their ancestry just because they married a smart man or a smart woman. You know, I was invited to a book launch a few days ago, and one of the things I told them, and the book launch is about my father's sperm. And I simply said, yes, we are talking about my father's sperm, the sperm of a man. Yes, it carries within it a lot of things. It carries the man's trauma, transgenerational trauma. It carries the man's shame and glory and strength and weaknesses. It carries everything about the man is in his sperm. That is his seed. But we can't talk about that without talking about the mother's womb. The mother's womb. The mother's womb. Because the mother's womb is the incubator of the father's seed. And based on not just anthropology now, based on biology, every woman carries within herself the mitochondrial Eve gene. A lot of you women, the reason you are carrying your child to prophet and alpha and pastor and allow people to spit on the head of and child dedication and fooling yourself is because you don't know who you are. That's it. You don't know who you are. That's why you will carry the same child that you birth by the breaking of your water and the shedding of your blood. You carry the child to one boy, you don't know anything about him, to come and lay hand on your child. You are the God of your child as a mother. One of the things that pisses me off in my life is ignorant motherhood. When I see a mother who is ignorant of who she is, I just step back from that kind of mother, because it shows that you are incompetent. That's what it shows. Any little thing, let's go to Alpha. Everybody, your child has become a specimen in the laboratory of false prophets and false affairs. Whether real prophet or false prophet, you as a mother, you are the power base of your child, because it's not just about the father's sperm. It's more about the mother's womb. That's what it is. The mother's womb is the incubator. That's where the seed was incubated. Listen to me as a woman. You have within you the mitochondrial Eve gene. One of my sisters was sick for 4 years. It was a terrible illness that she was moved from one hospital to another. And at some point, they told my mother and said, my mother should just leave her. My mother said, leave who? He said, just forget about this thing. There's no cure. My mother said, there's no cure where? My mother said, this child that I poured my water and my blood on. My mother stood her ground and said, no, there is hope. My sister was healed. She got married. She has children. The only problem we had with our mother was, you will still carry this power you have and go and meet pastor. Pastor that just finished knocking one woman. Pastor that you are purer and you are better than in every way. You carry this power that you have and go and meet him. Giving him the glory that is due you. Credit for the things he did not do. You don't want to take credit for yourself, because society has told you as a woman, you are only open your legs and cook food. So you don't take credit for anything. You are a woman. It's not just about the father's sperm. It's about the mother's womb. Just by marrying the right person, you can end ancestral algorithm of stupidity by marrying a smart person. That's it. Because you carry within yourself as a woman the mitochondrial Eve gene. And listen, in your mitochondrial Eve gene is a separate DNA. It is different from the main DNA. And the only person that carries that gene is the mother, not the father. So we can talk about the father's sperm, but listen to me. If you don't talk about the woman's womb, the mother's womb alongside. You are wasting your time because a stupid man, right, can raise intelligent children just because he married an intelligent woman. Yeah. Because if the womb is not damaged, that's why a lot of you women, you have to start doing some womb rituals for yourself. You have to start speaking to your womb. Your womb can hear you. Listen, you carry within you components of your children. Even if they are abroad, you are in Nigeria, you are, see, there is, by extension, the umbilical cord is eternal, is forever. That's why a mother can feel something from a distance about her child. She can feel it. Men don't want to talk about this because a lot of men are insecure. I'm not going to be less than a man because I'm talking about this. No. They don't want to tell you because we live in a generation where they are painting women as weak by based on the umbilical cord. Your child is connected to you for life. Biologically proven. Thank you, Ajimi Kwasi Okunya. So whatever you are, that's what your child will be. You know, they've said it jokingly and even scientifically proven that the mother's intelligence reflects in the child. So a stupid man can marry a smart woman and they will raise smart children. But if a stupid woman, I don't know how to put it now, but you know, no matter what a man carries, the mother's womb can heal it. The only challenge is it may stress the womb. It may stress the womb. A lot of you, the reason why you haven't even recovered from childbirth is because the seed that you carried, oh man, is a seed of alcohol, weed, drugs, damage, emotional damage, trauma, ego, poverty. But he is tall and handsome. But his seed is rubbish. That's what you carry. But he's tall, he's fine boy, driving under a cord. But his seed was poisonous to your womb. And that's why that was what changed the whole paradigm for you. And you are still trying to recover. You lost yourself just because you gave birth to a child. A situation that was meant to be that of joy and happiness, because it's the seed that you carried. It's the seed of someone who has sown their seed at different places with different strange women. Then you are now the one that carried the last one. And then you are wondering why you are struggling with postpartum. And you, after giving birth, you feel like your life is over, like you are sick and you are irrecoverable. The emotional breakdown. That's what's going on. So who you raise your family with can be the disruption when it comes to negative ancestral algorithm. It can be that. And our goal, listen guys, your goal here is to break negative bloodline codes. That's why you are here. You know, I always use this lady as an example. This DJ Copy. And you notice how the girl she's happily living her life because some people did the work for her. So you get what I'm saying now? Some people did the work for her. Most of the issues that she has are issues that she created by herself, not the issues that her parents couldn't deal with. So we are not just healing, right, guys? You are ending spiritual contracts that never served you. There are a lot of spiritual contracts that are not serving you, and you must put an end to them. And the Lionsgate portal is the window that opens you up to that liberation. It is this season. This is a very, very important season when it comes to you breaking ancestral patterns. So the first step is to identify the pattern you want to break. You know, one of the things that keeps the pattern alive, it is shame. It is guilt. It is shame that keeps the negative ancestral pattern alive. But guess what? When you open up to truth, it will break it. That's what truth will break it. You have to be brutally honest to yourself. That's the way. You must know the pattern you are breaking. What pattern are you breaking? Because it is not your inheritance. Now, there is a practice that I would like to teach you tonight. Get a pen and a paper, like you did yesterday. Get a pen and a paper. You must identify the cycles that keep repeating in your family. Let's do some neuroscience. You must identify the cycles. There are some cycles that keep repeating in your family. You must identify them. For some people, it's addictions, abuse, settling for less, fear of success, poverty, sickness. There are different patterns. You must identify the cycles first. And then take a pen and a paper and write, the cycle I am breaking is this. The pattern I am breaking is this. Write it on that paper. And then the next thing you write, this is not my inheritance. This is not my. The cycle or pattern I am breaking is this. And then under it, write, this is not my inheritance. Write under it. And guess what you do? You draw an X across paper. Let me show you what I'm saying. Can you see the board? Okay, can you see the board? Okay, I'm sure you can see the board. Yes. This is you can see the board, right? So you write the pattern or cycle I am breaking is maybe poverty mindset. Maybe the pattern or cycle I'm breaking is diabetes, cancer. Write it down. The cycle I'm breaking is this. And then you write, this is not my inheritance. Listen, all these little exercises, because people don't like anything that looks simple. They want fire. Every power. To them, that is where power is. Every evil. Where they sweat, gymnastics, to them, that is what is working. But those are waste of time. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it is just waste of your precious time. Just know that. It is waste of your time, guys. This is what is spiritually and scientifically proven. Neuroplasticity. Activate new neurons, new programs, new information, new details into your brain. Writing is one of them. No, but it doesn't carry fire. And so to some people, it's not powerful. And then you write, this is not my inheritance. Write it down. This is not my inheritance. And then you draw an X on it. You draw an X on it. This is not my inheritance. You draw an X. You must be dramatic about it. You must be passionate about it. You must carry this exercise out with all commitment. Energy. You must bring energy into it. Because the first step to ending the curse is to call it by name. Call it what it is. Call it by name. Call it what it is. Because shame keeps it alive. Shame keeps it alive. One of the things that a lot of people struggle to believe is that your DNA is not your destiny. No, the DNA is very powerful. Informations are stored in your DNA, but that's not your destiny. You are an individual in the ecosystem of your ancestry. So you have your own destiny. In your lineage, your ancestry, yes, is there. There are patterns and cycles, and traits and characteristics, right? But you have your own destiny. You have your own destiny. So your DNA is not your destiny, but your DNA can either be the catalyst for the fulfillment of your destiny or be the hindrance. So please understand that. But there is something about the human spirit. The human spirit can override genetic and spiritual programming. That's one thing you must know. You are a spirit. You are spiritual. The struggle and need to be spiritual is against your nature. You are already spiritual. You just need activation. That's it. Please don't forget this. Your DNA is not your destiny. But your DNA can either be the catalyst for the fulfillment of your destiny or the hindrance and stumbling block when it comes to manifesting your destiny. But listen to me, the human spirit can override every genetic and spiritual programming. When your spirit is alive, there's a young man in this city. I remember when I moved here and I was running a cleaning company, and a governor, they gave me a contract to clean their place. So I was carrying some boys to go and clean. And I met two boys in their house. Two of them were chefs. They're from Calabar. And one of them, because whenever the boys were cleaning, I would just sit down and be using my laptop. That was the days when people were not really used to internet. Because in this particular house, they had free internet. There was a time free internet was like gold to a lot of people. So I would bring out my laptop and I would start doing something. And laptop was like a big man thing then. And this young man, one of the cook that they have, he would just come and be looking at the laptop. There were two of them doing the same job. I'm trying to tell you how powerful the human spirit can override genetic and spiritual programming. Because your DNA is not your destiny. So if your DNA is a hindrance, your human spirit can override it. And he will come and he will tell me that he really likes this thing. I was like, oh, really? You want to learn it? I was like, he wants to learn it. A cook. Two cook. But one saw an opportunity. And he said, he wishes that he had a laptop. So I called the daughters of the governor and said, anytime I come here, this is what this guy says, that he wants a laptop. And they told him and said, if you do your job right, we'll buy you a laptop on your birthday. Jokingly, they bought him a laptop. So during his free time, he takes the laptop, he starts messing with it. He starts just doing whatever with it. He has a tech company in Abuja now. This was in 2014, 2013. Recently, I saw him. He's a married man, runs his own tech company. I asked him, where is that other cook? He said he's back in Calabar. He's back in Calabar because of his spirit. The human spirit can override genetic and spiritual programming. Because your human spirit is encoded within divinity. Your human spirit. That's why your soul is the reason you have a soul is because of your spirit. The reason people's spirit is not working with their soul because their soul is corrupt. And the spirit can never align itself with a corrupt soul. The things you expose your soul to, your ability to control your frequency. Because what your spirit does is it is your superconscious consciousness. Your spirit is your part of God. Your spirit is your supernatural being, right? You have a soul because of your contract in this incarnate existence, right? But your spirit must come alive and catalyze your soul and empower your soul. Your spirit must be the force behind your soul because that's what your spirit is meant for. If there is something, even if you don't do it for yourself, do it because of your children. For those of you who have children, even if you don't do it because of yourself, why don't you do it because of your children? Because it is your spirit that can break the code. When your spirit is alive, you will never drown in any situation, even if you are in the gutter, right? You will be in the pit and never be pitiful. That's what's going to happen. Because the world wants you to be in the pit and be pitiful. You are a spirit having a human experience. You are spiritual. Now let's close with this. Say after me. I am the spirit. I am the spirit that empowers my soul. I am the spirit that is at work in the flesh. That's what you are. That's what you are. That's what you are. I am the spirit that empowers my flesh. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living being. And the Lord God breathed into man. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into him the breath of life. And man and woman became a living being, a living soul, meaning there are dead souls. Anyone who is working outside the contract and the source code and the software of their soul is dead. There are dead souls. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. I am a living soul. Yes, you can tear the paper. You can tear it or burn it safely. I am a living soul. I'm a being of light. This is why you cannot drown in situations and circumstances. No, you can't drown because your spirit is always high up there. Your spirit can never be, no. Your spirit does not like a lot of the things that you are doing. Your spirit doesn't like the fact that you are outsourcing your power to other people. Your spirit is just there because your spirit cannot partake in corruption. Your spirit can't partake in the corruption of your soul. That's what I'm trying to say. But the moment the soul is ready to take on its originality and form, the spirit is ready to activate. Spirit ready to activate. We are in a very, very critical phase of 2025, guys. You can sign and seal your next 12 months. You can sign it and seal it your next 12 months. You can sign and seal your next 12 months in this season. This is a Kairos moment. This is your new year. This is the galactic new year. I am the Lord of the Sirius. I am the Lord of the Sirius. You can break chains, seen and unseen chains. You can break them now. You can tell yourself the story ends here. All those unpleasant stories about my lineage, it ends here. You can be the living proof that love wins. There are people who came from a family lineage where divorce was the pattern. They couldn't just hold marriage. And someone said, no. All of them had reasons. My husband was abusive. My this. But it was a pattern. If it is a pattern, it is a pattern. There is no excuse. My this. And someone stood up and said, no, I am going to be the living proof that love wins. And when she was confronted with issues in her marriage and she stood her ground and said, no, I am going to break that yoke. I will be the living proof that love wins. I'm not going to make any excuses. This is an ancestral negative algorithm trying to find its place in my marriage the same way it did with every other person in my family. And they thought it was just normal. And they came up with their reasons why. And the reason may sound really good, And she said, no, my bloodline is blessed. We experience love. We raise family. Negative story ends here. And that's what she did. There are people who are functioning by ancestral algorithm of silence. Society silenced their ancestors. So it is also silencing them. I am not my father's silence. A lot of you women, you think you have to go through pain because your mother went through pain. One of my sisters, because of some personal reasons, I told her that I will not allow you to be stressing yourself. So if this person cannot do it, I'll do it. I got her a maid to be working with her. And I said, I'm going to be paying the maid every month so that you can have time for yourself. Since this person doesn't want to. But I gave her an instruction. I said, if I am paying for a maid for you, the maid must do the work. I will not pay a maid and you are still the one doing the work. Because you are not your mother's pain. Because your mother believes that she must work from morning till night. Even if there are people around her who can help her, my mother will still want to do the work by herself. It is a sign of a person who wants to romance struggle and hardship. Simple. It's not, I like hard work. I like which hard work? You just want to romance struggle and hardship. You don't like soft life. Even if she has 20 grandchildren, she must be the one to carry. She wants to work for everybody. And I say, if I'm paying you, and I told my sister, if I'm paying a maid for you, if I ever hear from your children that the maid is crossing leg and you are the one doing the work, what I'm going to do to you, because you cannot repeat your mother's struggle and pain. And that's what many of you are repeating. You are repeating your father's struggle, repeating your mother's pain. The whole concept of generational curse, this is it. What they call generational curse. Of which that is not the right terminology to use, but this is it. This is it. An unexamined life is not worth living. I am not my father's struggle and silence. I am not my mother's pain. I'm not my mother's pain. No. The fact that my mother suffered and she made a law out of that suffering doesn't mean I also have to suffer. No. No. The fact that my father struggled all his life doesn't mean I have to struggle. I'm going to go through my own challenges. I enjoy living like a king. Those who are around me, they know. If something can be paid for, I'm not going to do it. I will not do it. I don't care. Call me lazy. That's your business. We went to stay in a short-let apartment one time, and then we ate in the morning, and then the cleaner was coming in to come and clean the house. And the other person was telling me, let's wash the plates. Why should I wash the plates? We paid. Why should I wash the plates? Prove to yourself that you are a hard worker that likes to suffer. I don't do that. Why should I wash the plates? I would not carry my parents' ancestral burdens. I am not my father's struggle and silence. I am not my mother's pain. I will confront my own challenges, but I will not repeat cycles of struggle. I will not have people around me who can help me and still be struggling by myself. No, because that's what the fathers and the mothers did. That's what the fathers and the mothers did. If money can solve a problem, I will not go and solve it. I will use money to solve it. One of my neighbors, this guy is so, wealthy. And then I told him, and every morning he comes out and come and wash his car. And I said, oh God, but you don't pass this level now. How can you have a boy working with you and still washing your car? You want to do exercise? Let me and you go to the gym, or let's take a walk every morning. Stop this thing you are doing now. And I noticed that a boy started washing his car for him. You can't be proving any point to yourself with all this struggle. No. Even to the littlest things, you must check yourself. What are the old patterns and old cycles I am repeating, I am sustaining in my life? I'm not my father's struggle. I'm not my mother's pain. I'm not my father's struggle. I'm not my mother's pain. If I go to a place and they offer me the front seat, if they offer me the king's seat in a palace, I'll sit there. No, sir, no, sir. No, sir, what? I'll sit there. I was offered, I'll sit there. I don't belong to the ground. This is the best time to wake up. This is the best time. See, this moment was your breakaway point. This today. You see yesterday and today. That's why we're going to post the video on YouTube. The Lionsgate portal, is going to be your launch into a new dimension. So everything you are breaking now, you're going to seal them. You're going to expand them. You're going to multiply them during the Lionsgate portal. And that's why I encourage you to be a part of this 4-day Mystic Masterclass. One of the things I said yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it, was, Bible says you have received the anointing of the Holy One and you know everything. That's what it says, right? So it means that you know everything you are meant to do. When people say, I am waiting on the Lord to tell me, they are just lazy, confused people. Simple. You have intuition. Infinite intelligence is the power base that sharpens your intuition to know what to do, where to go, who to call, when to call them, how to do things, so you can gain clarity and insight. And then what happens is you have inspired action. Inspired thought leads to inspired action. That's what happens. It's Friday night, that's why I'm staying long. Friday night we stay this long. Inspired action, infinite intelligence. That's what happens. And just with your numbers, just with your 5 most important numbers, you can know. Thank you, Well, for subscribing. You can know what to do every month. I told you this month, July. Earlier in July, I noticed that I was having some issues around my navel and the lower part of my body. And I didn't pay attention to it until maybe 4 or 5 days ago. I said, why am I having this pain here? Because I forgot to check, I didn't focus on the health part of my July blueprint, right? Exactly. I didn't focus on it. I was only focused on the money part, the spirit part. But there is also the health and fitness part of The four square, one of the things I'm going to teach during the 4-day Mystic Masterclass that we're having from the 17th is your four square of desire, the four quadrants of your life. Because that is what you're going to use to, it is the architectural design of your vision board. This is why I can't be explaining all of those things here. For those who subscribe to the masterclass, you are going to discover how to develop the architecture